In this session, you are going to learn Chapter 1, Multimedia and Desktop Publishing, Part 4. The main thing you are going to learn in this session are steps in multimedia production. It's a 5 mark for you. Steps in multimedia production are conceptual analysis and planning, project design, pre-production, production, testing, documentation, delivering and multimedia product. Is it clear? We are going to see one by one all the steps. I'll repeat the steps again. Conceptual analysis and planning, project design, pre-production, production, testing, documentation, delivering and multimedia product. So first step, conceptual analysis and planning. The process of multimedia making begins with the conceptual analysis and planning. So what is the analysis and planning? Before we create a multimedia product, we should identify the important things. What are they? Appropriate theme. What is the theme for our product? What is the budget for the product? What is the content availability for the product? Copyright issues regarding the product. For example, consider that you are going to release a racing game. Everyone likes game to play using the system or the mobile. So, if you are having a plan like that, it is also a multimedia product. So for that, I have to choose the theme. For example, if it is a car race, you have to choose the theme. Whether it is Formula 1 or 2, what is the distance, what is the standard for that. I think most of the boys were well known about the racing games. So you should select based on that for which category you are going to create that. Then the budget. So if you want to create that, we should know the budget. In the budget also there are many categories. We have to decide based on that. For example, if you are going to create a car race game means, first we need some softwares and hardwares for that. So we must know what is the budget to purchase that or how to get that, everything. So content availability. If it is the same thing which is in market, it won't be a welcoming thing. Then I have to design a new thing. Then you have to think for the content availability, how to make the game more interactive and innovative. Then copyrights. So we should not do a thing which was already in market. So we must have a separate idea for our own, and we must know how to get the copyright issues. That means how to get the copyright for our product. These things should be analyzed in the first step itself. That step is said to be conceptual analysis and planning. So now we are ready with the car game and the theme, and we are having a rough budget, and we are able to identify the content which is going to be placed in that game, and for the copyright issues. Whether I can claim the copyright or not, what are the issues in that, where I have to approach, whom I have to see, everything I have to think in the first step itself. Next step, project design. So, first step is about the planning. Next, I should know the objectives, goals and activities. What is said to be objectives? General statement are termed as goals. So, general statements are termed as goals means car race. Okay, it's a general statement for the product. It's a goal. I am going to create a product for car race gaming. Okay, fine. Next, the specific statements. That means I have to decide whether the car is for 4 person or 8 person. What are the participants in that player? Whether he is able to participate only in a 8 track, or it should be in a in a networking. whether like your PUBG, whether someone can accompany with the game. Likewise, I have to decide. Next, activities are series of actions performed to implement an objective. These activities contribute to the project design phase. That means complete scenario. First stage, how many of them should be there? If it is a failure, or if someone is foul, someone is out, then what is the next step? Everything step by step, all the activities should be designed from starting to the finished position. Then our plan, we know the steps for the game. Then pre-production. Before the final product that is said to be the production, I should know the pre-production. Based on the planning and design, it is necessary to develop the project. I should know the budgeting, multimedia production team should be there, hardware, software selection, defining the content, preparing the structure. Somewhat elaborate from the design, but it is not the full form of product. But in the pre-production itself, we will get a complete scenario for the product. So again, the steps are dividing. So in the pre-production itself, we are having budgeting, multimedia production team, hardware, software selection, defining the content, preparing the structure. We'll see this one by one. In the pre-production, budgeting for each phases like consultants, hardware, software, travel, communication and publishing is estimated for all the multimedia projects. This is very much important because without the required hardware and software and communication and publishing of the product, we cannot fulfill our dream. So I must clear with the things. What are the hardware required? What is the cost for that? What are the software requirement? What is the cost for that? How much it should be traveled? What is the communication between the production team and the market team? Everything should be finalized with the budgeting team. So hardware, software is okay. Then I should decide. That means the production team for the higher end multimedia project requires team efforts. The team comprises of members playing various roles and responsibilities like. That means here the human resource is needed for making the product to life. So production manager, content specialist, script writer, text editor, multimedia architect, computer graphic artist, audio and video specialist, computer programmer, webmaster. This multimedia production team alone is a separate question for you. It's a 5-mark question, important question. Here in this procedure, we are just knowing the persons who are all involved in multimedia production team. We'll see this elaborate in the next video. Now here we'll continue with the steps. Then hardware, software selection. Probably this is very important nowadays because multimedia is mainly with the computer related or interactive things. So we must be very clear with the hardware and software selection. Our multimedia application requires appropriate tools to develop and playback the application. Hardware includes the selection of fastest CPU and RAM and huge monitors. This is important because if the RAM is very low, if the CPU is very low in performance, then most of them will not like the product because it's taking such a long time to load. I don't like this. This is very slow. We'll get a comment like that. So we must be very clear with the content, which RAM, which type of CPU, that means processor is we are going to use. Selection of suitable software and file formats depending on the funds available for the project being developed. So multimedia is mainly depend on this hardware and software selection for the reliability, feasibility and for the livelihood for a long time. So we must be very careful in selection of hardware and software. defining the content. So in the defining content, content is the stuff provided by content specialist to multimedia architect with which the application is developed, who prepares the narration, bullets, charts and table, etc. That means what is displayed on the screen while the product is live. This is main for the content. So defining the content should decide and design the thing which should be displayed on the screen. Next, preparing the structure. A detailed structure must have information about all the steps along with the timeline for the future action. This is very important because without updation and modification, we cannot withstand our software for a long-term process. So, it is important to have this timeline for future action. This structure defines the activities, responsible person for each activity and the start and end time for each activity. That means after designing, after selection the hardware software, after selecting the content, the steps who is going to design this should be splitted in modules, and each module is in a detailed structure, and the person who is involving in the designing structure should be explained or written clearly. That is the preparing of the structure. That means based on the structure only the person is going to execute. If the first person has to execute the first structure, means the module, the first team has to work out that. Then only the second team has to work. So it's very important to frame the structure and function on that. Is it clear, children? So we have seen the pre-production steps. Now we come to the production. So after the pre-production activities, the production phase starts. This includes activities like background music, selection, sound recording and so on. The text is incorporated with OCR software, pictures shot by digital camera, video clips are shot, edited and compressed. I hope you can understand this production with your film making. Have you seen that? They will say shooting is over, only the post-production is over. It has to start. Production team is working, means they will do the re-recording, background music, dubbing. These things will be done. Same like here also. After completion of the structure, these things are involved in production. Then testing. So it is not compared with the film making, because testing is merely compared with the product. It's very, very important before releasing, because we know the plan, we designed that, then we have done the pre-production, now the production is over. Then before coming to market, the product should be tested completely. If we fail in testing, then our product will be a great loss. The complete testing of a pilot product is done before the mass production, thereby avoiding the failure after launch. If it's a web-based product, its functioning is tested with different browsers like Internet Explorer, Chrome, Mozilla, Netscape Navigator. If it is local multimedia application on a LAN, it must be deployed in the server for testing purpose. What is the meaning is, if our gaming product is for the networking, means I have to test the game installed in server, and it should be tested with the client things in the networking area. Sometimes there will be some problems regarding that, so it should be cleared in the testing process itself. If it is a product that is going to be released in the internet, means I have to check with each browser whether this product coding is supported by Internet Explorer or Chrome or Mozilla. Sometimes they will say this HTML coding is not supported here. So our product should not get such a error thing. So to clarify this, the product should be tested after production part. This is very important, because for example, think that you have purchased and released a car with a new model. If a person who has to test the brake has failed to test the brake in many steps, he tested the brake sensor only for few steps. He didn't checked it for other steps, means for controlling the car in 180 kilometers or 200, likewise depends upon the power of the engine. If he failed to test that, means after launching the product, if it is in sale, when the customer is using the brake for in a particular speed and it is not available to control, means think about the family, think about the person, and think about the product which is in market. Then it will be a complete failure. So everyone has to then retake the car. So it is a big loss for the company. So testing is important before launching the product. If you are saying that our game is very good, at a time 4 people can play, at a time 100 people can play, if we say like that, then it should be tested and it should be confirmed before it is launched. Next, documentation. It's very important because the documentation has all the valuable information starting from the system requirement till the completion of testing. Contact details like email address and phone numbers are provided for technical support and sending suggestions and comments. That means without the documentation, this product cannot be revised or renewed for further process. So each phase should be documented completely. Then there is a style to document every coding. They will instruct the style to form the documentation. Next, the last step, delivering and multimedia product. So delivering means our application are best delivered on CD or DVD or in website. Being a multimedia product, it must be able to deliver in CD or DVD or in the website. In reality, various challenges are faced while delivering through internet, like bandwidth problems, huge number of plugins required to play audio and video, and long downloading time. You might faced all these things. Nowadays, in this quarantine period, many of the people are facing this because of the online classes, online meeting. The bandwidth is low, your internet is unstable. Likewise, many problems are coming. Finally, a multimedia application is delivered in a more effective way by the integration of two mediums. So, the game is ready and it is going to be released in CD or DVD or in the website. So, these are the steps in the multimedia production. We'll have a recap. Conceptual analysis and planning. Simply, it's the total planning for the product. Then what is the project design? It is designing the goals, objectives, and the activities, coordinating all the things. Then what is pre-production? Early stage of the production. Then what is the production? Pilot product. That means the product is ready for launch, but it is not launched. Before that, it should be tested. So testing before launching the product for all its errors. Documentation is valuable information related with the product. Delivering the multimedia product is delivering the final product in CD, DVD or websites. I hope you understand. Fine. Content of this session is multimedia production team. So the multimedia production team members are production manager, content specialist, script writer, text editor, multimedia architect, computer graphic artist, audio and video specialist, computer programmer, webmaster. So all the persons together, they will produce a multimedia product and they are responsible for the production. So we'll see one by one the roles and responsibilities of each person. Production manager. The role of production manager is to define and coordinate the production time and with full quality should be the technology expert, and he should have a good at proposal writing, good communication skills, budget management, experience in human resource management, and act as an efficient team leader. In one word, he is the whole responsible for all the things from top to bottom of a multimedia product. He has to coordinate, he has to be a technology expert, and he should be an efficient person to communicate the product to others, and he should have a good budget management for the production, and he should have efficiency to handle the human resource, that means the employees who is going to work under his control, and he must be a team leader to encourage everyone and motivate in a good manner. Then content specialist. They target content to specific audience and look for content that is in demand. That means if you want to have a multimedia, for example, you can take an advertisement. An advertisement is also a multimedia. So he must decide the content. You might see the thing, if it is a summer season, you might see many of the advertisement relating with AC. Because as it is a summer season, they want to promote the sale of AC. So they will prepare a advertisement in a manner to make the people's mindset to buy AC because it is necessary for summer to use it. So in this way, they will have a target content to specific audience. The program content refers to project's information, graphics, data, or facts presented through the multimedia production. That means he has to design all the things, the idea, how the ad should be, what are the things should come in the ad. All the information should be gathered by the content specialist, whether it is only of 2 persons, whether it is a family, everything should be designed here itself. Then script writer. So script writer, it is a process of writing stories in a screenplay medium. So in the content they will decide if it is a 2 person or is it a family. Then the script writer will develop it as a visualized concept in 3-dimensional environments. That means it must be a dining hall or it must be a living room. Everything is designed here as a script writer for the particular content. Is it clear? Are you able to follow me? Then text editor. Who is the text editor? Means the person who is responsible for the content of multimedia. If it is like a book or a film, needs to flow in a logical fashion and the text must be structurally and grammatically correct. If there is a text flow in the multimedia, then the text flow must be in a good manner and without grammatical mistake. The text related elements needed to be revised by the text editor. If you are seeing any advertisement, you can see many of the text are coming from left side and right side. That text must be in take care of text editor. So he is responsible for the particular text which is coming on the visual. Then multimedia architect. He is the one who integrates all the graphics, text, audio, music, video, photos and animations by using a authorizing software. So he is the technical person who is going to coordinate all the text, audio, video, graphics which are taken for the particular advertisement. Computer graphics artist. This multimedia and the multimedia architect and the computer graphic artist work together with a good wavelength because their works are interrelated. Works are different, but it is interrelated to form a good output. So the graphic artist is to deal with the graphic elements of the programs like backgrounds, bullets, pictures, editing 3D objects, animations and logos, etc., which are going to come on the visuals. Audio video specialist. So this person's role is to dealing with the narration and digitized videos. So you might see sometimes while we are in video call, the video will come first, audio will come later, so it will not coincide. So he is the person. The audio video specialist must be very clear with the sound, audio video coordination, editing, everything is in his hand. The computer programmer. Sometimes for creating the animations, there will be a need for writing codes. So the computer programmer writes the lines of code or scripts in appropriate language. These scripts usually develop special functions like developing the software to give the size, shape of the video windows, controlling peripherals, and so on. So the persons who learned HTML can have an idea that you are able to insert a picture in left side, right side. Sometimes you can have a frame size. So everything is done using through the programming coding. So the computer programmer is responsible for handling these things in a multimedia production. Then webmaster. So he is the last person and the responsible person because they convert a multimedia presentation into a web page. Final multimedia product is ready for consultation is a joint effort of the entire team and the project content, while the webmaster provides access to a wide range of community through web services. That means the person who is responsible for making the product to be launched in the web page in a website. So he is responsible for making all the necessary things to make that particular product to be a web-based thing. So now a recap. The multimedia production teams are production manager, content specialist, script writer, text editor, multimedia architect, computer graphic artist, audio and video specialist, computer programmer, webmaster. See a small So in this animation, the starting point is set goal. Am I right? Set a goal. For that, work hard. So taking books and learning and keep it as a practice. So it's an example for multimedia product. So the production manager is in charge for whole thing. The content specialist has designed the content. The aim is set a goal to make it live. They have selected a thing that is going to do the practice hard work, and the script writer is making the screenplay that there must be a library, there must be books, there must be a calendar. Everything is designed by the script writer. The text editor here are responsible for the text coming in the flow. So first set a goal, then practice, hard work, practice, everything is coming in a structural flow. This is done by the text editor. Then multimedia architect is responsible for all the audio, video, text in a coordination. That person only integrated everything. Computer graphics artist is responsible for all the background things. See here in this picture it is standing and background, can you see the audience? How the audience should be, what is the color, what is the shape, everything is designed by the computer graphics artist. Then audio, video, the video and the audio should be in a same coincide manner. That is done by the specialist. Computer programmer, he is a background man. That means he will not come on the screen. His work will be in a hidden place as he is writing the coding. So webmaster, so he is responsible for making it to launch in the website. So the content specialist, scriptwriter, text editor, multimedia architect, computer graphics artist, audio video specialist, computer programmer, all together form a product, multimedia product, and the webmaster will make it launch in the website. Is it clear, children? I hope you will enjoy this